From a stage, I stood there stunned, not knowing what was expected of me, and I was shaking just from being goaded into something that I did not feel part of nor felt I had attained. I was just a good scholar. Isn't that what everyone was doing here? When I looked down on all the people in front of me from that height, I wasn't sure what to do until the headmaster shoved his hand in mine and presented me with a parcel wrapped festively with my name on it and an envelope. How that happened was a story worth the tale. I began my life in a small community in Germiston, South Africa, a mining town where one of the first gold mines started the 1878 gold rush. Like most teens, I had a mother and father, but during that time after the Second World War things were scarce. You could wear anything you wanted to, but it was blue, white or khaki, and the only trousers were gray or navy blue and khaki, but no one wanted to wear military gear after Hitler and Rommel made such a mess in Europe and North Africa. Commodities were in short supply, even cars had inner tubes and they were scarce, so people filled the tire with sand and hosepipe. It never bothered me because I grew up with it and life went on. Situations changed and improved as I got older. That day I'll never forget. It was the last week of my schooling and I had done well as a student. The final prize was never something that was promoted because it was th prize and it was a surprise for the best student. It was only some time later that I got my thoughts together enough to write what really happened to this guy in that hall on that day. So I fell into the habit right there at an early age and let art express the reality and the richness of the moment. The poem, The Prize, followed with pen to paper. The prize, wake up, prepare. The horse before the cart, dough before the syrup, they say. Get the sequence right. It is time for industry, the sun is up and there's emptiness in the pantry, life has to be lived, and you fast realize there's things you're not gived, you have to find an occupation, something to do and make money. A vocation. So you're still tired, but you have to attempt to be inspired, while you agreed to always do your best, you never slept. So now, you have to fake the zest, you're a scholar but it feels like prison, cues for this and that. No prediction or vision, but you marshal thoughts and deeds along, give the outward impression you're strong, and it's a day of drama, next, and the next tireless order and dogma, demand and damn, people are ruthless, and after lunch you are breathless, but back into the yoke. You go, swallow your pride and your coke, because the day is an endless bind, but hey! Somehow you manage through the grind, finally it is time to end, day is done just as you make the last bend, straighten up and sigh, your body aches. And man! How you wish you could fly, you leave the classes, shuffle down the paving through the masses, home with a languid limb, a steady eye, but disappointment and prospects dim, 1 week goes to the month, and the next, the year meets its zenith. Then wanes into winter's solstice, but the graft is remorseless with insistence, exams come unwelcome, again, it's late nights to cram and all the disdain, just seeing you were exam stumped, with the question from paragraph 10 you skipped. You get your head above water, trying not to fight with every Tom, Dick and the waiter, but it's irritating when you're the buck, and what? You just feel in need of something to chuck, well. That's Christmas there on the horizon, and some have put their scarves on. Hear ye. There is the prize giving to come, and yes. Also the prom or gala, to some, the hall is packed and tense, everyone wants to hear who won and not sat on the fence. Grand English prize and first student. First with distinction, you're not sure you heard right with your own conviction, the guy behind you gives you a digging shove, you look at him and wish you had a boxing glove, now it's the guy on your left, he almost seems completely at a loss and bereft, they say. Go! It's you! You won! In the nervous sweat that grabs you, you want to run, but there are too many people in the way, and they are all looking at you for something to say. You stand and shuffle along the aisle, put up a pose and a smile on you dial, the whole bloody hall erupts in applause, right at that moment you aren't sure of the cause, you make your way to the stage, and the din carries on. It's a rampage, they stamp their feet and shout, she's. What is this all about? There is the stage and the stairs. The prefect waves me on with pomp and airs, I nearly miss the first step, but he steadies me with a bold tap. You see, he's hep. Now your ears are drumming with the ruckus, and as you approach the dais, you see the omnibus, your face reddens and knees feel weak, you wonder if you're the only freak, the principal stands there.
Why ethical dilemmas are faced by carers in people with dementia. Why ethical dilemmas are faced by carers in people with dementia, by Laurent Christopher Bilihanuma, author Tanzania, East Africa, May 24, 2021. When it reach a point leaders fail to go or to stand, remaining quiet while things get broken, not speaking while she's supposed to speak. It brings about difficulties on how to succeed in life. We have leaders become dilemma when an ethical dilemma, ethical paradox or moral dilemma. As a problem in decision-making process between two possible options, neither of which is absolutely acceptable from an ethical perspective. Although we face many ethical and moral problems in our lives, most of them come with relatively straightforward solutions. Ethical dilemmas are not about making one-off decisions. It is therefore important to consider situations, any decisions made and subsequent changes over a period of time. The ethical dilemma and attempts to resolve it may have had an impact on the family dynamics and on individual relationships. Similarly, the resolution of the dilemma may have contributed towards a different situation which will gradually unfold and may lead to other issues which will affect people's lives, since it may be helpful to reflect on these issues and their implications, and especially with hindsight to learn from the experience, bearing in mind that you did your best. Also, some examples of ethical dilemma a leader should consider this much include taking credit for others' work, offering a client a worse product for your own profit. Utilizing inside knowledge for your own profit, a leader can look at obstacles to resolving ethical dilemmas, adopting a structured, reflective and compassionate approach to tackling ethical dilemmas, involving everyone concerned and focusing on people's lived experiences should, hopefully, contribute towards resolving ethical dilemmas you may encounter. However, leaders sometimes hampered by emotional and psychological issues from the past, as well as by habits and ways of thinking which are no longer appropriate or helpful. With the aim of maximizing the potential to tackle ethical dilemmas successfully, we draw attention in this section to a few possible mental traps and highlight the need to be open to other people's experience in order to increase our understanding of the situation and of possible options. Some of these approaches have been used in the domains of psychotherapy and counseling to help people to become aware of their thought processes and how these might be affecting their behavior. They have not been specifically applied to ethical dilemmas but may be helpful to some people. As well, being weighed down by old baggage, often, we let ideas, influences and habits from the past affect how we approach current situations. We may have come to accept sayings, values and certain ways of doing things more or less as facts or reality. However, our current situation, our relationships and what is important to us and other people at this moment may have changed. It may help to reflect on what we take for granted. We may find that certain long-held values, beliefs and assumptions are not as important as we thought they were. They may turn out to be hindering our ability to tackle a current dilemma, but also, the need to be realistic. Sometimes, we strive for excellence or the perfect solution when good enough would actually be the best option. We cannot always do what we would like to do for our loved ones as we are constrained to some extent by social, political and economic factors as well as our own limits. For example, somebody might want to resign from their job in order to care for their parent or partner, but doing so might jeopardize their future financial security or the well-being of other members of the family. Another person might want to care for their loved one at home, but their own health problems might make this impossible. We are therefore not all-powerful. It is sometimes necessary to make compromises, settle for less than the perfect solution and try to come to terms with the fact that the end result is not ideal or what we had hoped for. Expertise traps. Expertise and knowledge may at times block openness to finding the best approach. Someone who approaches the situation with no specific expertise or knowledge may have greater openness, fewer preconceptions, and a willingness to consider all possibilities. At the same time, input from people with different kinds of expertise can be helpful. It may therefore be beneficial to bring together relevant people from different backgrounds to discuss the situation and issues at stake and give equal value to the views of people who have no apparent expertise in the domain. The impulse to take action and solve problems. In recent years, problem-solving approaches have been criticized, especially in the context of complex, unclear, known as messy, situation.